Today, he'll be describing a leadership challenge he faced when confronted by students regarding misconduct by their attached professor. Please note that due to the sensitivity of this scenario, has asked to provide an interview via audio only.
Several years ago, students came forward to complain about a certain colleague, and with some pretty serious allegations, and it was really the first time of that level, and I had to obviously decide how to respond to it pretty quickly. In this case, it was about ethical behavior, unethical behavior, and emotional abuse, and other types. And it was more than one student, and pretty quickly I had to set up a meeting with the chair, with the student, to basically take a statement, basically, from the student on what happened. It was a combination of things. One was the professor was the landlord for several of the students, and so it was a massive conflict of interest to start with. But also, there's laws within the state about what a landlord can and cannot do. So there was outside of the academic environment, there was that going on. Then within it, unethical behavior about excessive expectations and work hours, unethical behavior in terms of not correctly and objectively presenting research results, but instead in a very biased way presenting them to give a better result than was really true, and was training the students to do that. There were some allegations of slapping, physical harm.
Here's a quick recap with some details filled in. A professor in question was a who abused her power over students financially, ethically, and physically by making them live as their tenants, manipulating research data, and even abusing them. Next, we'll hear from him feel that he had the duty to intervene.
Pretty clear that the moment stuff's going on for the safety of the students and the protection of the students, but also because you never know where it's going to go down the road, you have to act right away to show also that any delay that may have occurred didn't make the situation worse. Because you never know what else is going on that you don't know.
As you heard, student safety was the primary motivation to get involved, which leads us to our pillars of meta leadership. In the next clip, discusses why students came to him as opposed to other professors. Try to pick out examples of leading down and up as deals with this difficult scenario.
Well, the students came to me. The faculty didn't pick me. I think I had developed a reputation by the students of one whom they could trust, one whom was fair in viewing situations as, where a student or a faculty member stepped over the line and would stand up for the student or stand up for the faculty member, however it was. And so they came forward to me, I think, because of just a collective history. I wouldn't say I was an impartial person on it, obviously, because this person was a student in the department and the faculty member was, but I did, the best as you could humanly do to be objective about it. But ultimately, in situations like that, my role in it was more of a facilitator and to get the students in contact with the right people. And once the independent council in the university took over, my role honestly was to step back, but obviously to keep a lookout for the students and to make sure there wasn't anything going on like pressuring or threatening or.
In the last clip, you heard how leads down by fostering a strong environment of trust that makes students feel comfortable approaching him with difficult problems. In the same clip, we heard an excellent example of leading up, acts as an important facilitator in getting his students connected with the proper channels to begin an investigation. Next, we'll hear how leads across his department by helping peers navigate through and come to terms with the turbulence among the faculty.
Obviously, there are other faculty that begin to then hear rumors of what's going on, and they come to me and ask, and obviously I can't share anything. It's protected information. So there's that. There's, protecting the privacy. Usually faculty have colleagues in all aspects of the department, and so sometimes it's also a matter of making sure that reporting it in a generic way such that other faculty are aware of making sure that they don't do the same thing. And that's a tricky thing. That's a really tricky thing to know how to communicate guidance without targeting one person.
In the last clip, we heard how respects the privacy of those involved in the investigation while also communicating important lessons learned to help colleagues avoid similar mistakes. This demonstrates how leading across can be done by setting a strong example of respect while also standing up to peer pressure and not gossiping or damaging the integrity of the investigation. In the next clip, we will hear how leads beyond and the long-term effects of his actions regarding this scenario.
Well, I mean, ultimately, it was a very lengthy investigation over an entire summer, and as a result of it, I would say that the faculty member ended up leaving the university. As a result of the faculty member leaving, when it was public notice, and it becomes public notice because obviously faculty are removed off of the department webpage and students talk when they see, they hear people are gone. Former students were very happy. Graduated students were very happy to hear about this because they had known that they had not wanted that person to be there. They had known them to be unfair and all other sorts of things, and so it definitely improved the quality of the department from a student perspective, from a reputation perspective, but of course, like most things, the faculty that are often the most aggressive and bend the rules or push the limits are often also the most productive. And so we did lose a very productive member of the department in other measures, but it was far worth that cost. And I think the faculty member may have lost their job at the next institution they went to. I don't know where, but as you might imagine, word travels quickly, and at conferences I would go to, everybody would come up to me and ask me what happened. Always.
There were obviously several far-reaching effects of this investigation. There were positive effects of leadership for the students, but negative effects for the department and the university in terms of staff lost, as well as the reputation of the department. In the final clip, will impart the important life lessons he took away from his experience, and how the rewards of standing up and doing the right thing will inevitably outweigh the risks.
It's often easy to overlook it when you see things that are wrong. It's the easy way out. It doesn't complicate things for you. But I imagine there's always a nagging feeling that you should have done something more. Knowing that the right thing was done and that it was acted upon. That the students that came forward were very brave, courageous, and took great risk of doing it to their own career. It's short-term complication, but it's long-term. It's one of those things that makes you feel proud. What you've done, you've done it. There's no doubt that what you did was right. Sometimes you just have to do the hard thing. The students that came forward, I was there at graduation for them, and they came up, ran up to me and hugged me. One of them was crying. And, it's moments like that any short-term risk or pain is all worthwhile. So don't hesitate. If you have any doubt, if there's any instinct, if there's anything going on, you feel like the hairs are standing up on the back of your neck and something's not right. Trust those feelings.